What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. I really hope you're having a great day because I absolutely am. So welcome to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to click that subscribe button. I really think you'll be happy you did. So in this video, we're going to be talking about why we do not put weed fabric underneath our raised beds. This is a very common question because many people are afraid that if they don't, they're going to have a weed infestation. And we've covered in the past how gentle grasses, or I guess more domesticated grasses, are very easily smothered by around 6 to 8 inches of soil, which is why we don't. But there's additional reasons why we don't put weed fabric. The weed fabric would be my last resort. I would never, ever recommend doing it unless you absolutely had to, because there are, in my personal opinion, way more benefits to not doing it than there are to doing it. So the whole reason why I don't is because I like to have as deep of soil structure as I can. I actually put my raised beds, they're 10 inches deep, some are 12 inches deep, right on top of native soil. And that means that I'm going to have 10 inches at least of beautiful compost that I put in by my, that I actually had trucked in here. And then I'm going to have underneath that an unlimited amount of soil structure below that roots can tap into. This is the first and the main reason why I don't. Because when you have the ability for roots to go all the way down through the soil, they're going to be tapping into that native soil that has such great mineral content that is often lacking in just regular garden soils because it's not being re-amended properly. Now we do come back and we add things like azomite and trifecta plus to really remineralize the top soil structure, and we also add things like compost as well. But that clay underneath and that growing medium that you have underneath you, regardless of the structure, will get better over time as well. You see this a lot of times with people that talk about back to Eden. They grow with wood chips. They say, well, often when I first started, I had nothing but really hard clay soil, and now it's beautiful, loose, and rich. Well, that didn't just magically happen. That happened through the soil, the soil biology being changed, and that can't change if there's a barrier in between there. Meaning you have really good, rich soil here, and if the soil underneath your raised beds is poor quality, that barrier is not going to allow the soil underneath to become looser and richer and healthier. So that's, again, the biggest reason. The second reason, which kind of ties into that, it does not allow for soil life to enter. Now this could be good or bad depending on what you're trying to keep out of your beds. A lot of times people are worried about gophers or moles or voles. Well, if you're worried about those, they can get through weed fabric anyways. They have teeth, they can chew right through it. But what I'm concerned about are things like worms. Worms are such a beneficial component to your raised beds. They help to break down organic matter. They leave worm castings wherever they travel, and that really helps to remineralize and nourish the soil that would otherwise not really be present. So again, that is another critical reason why I don't put weed fabric underneath my raised beds. The third reason why I don't put anything under my raised beds is because I think if you are going to, there are better alternatives. Weed fabric does not break down, and it is often used, it often has synthetic materials in it that don't allow it to break down. If it did break down, that would be counterproductive to what weed fabric does. So they often make it out of like nylon or some type of poly material that does not allow it to degrade. So when you have that in your soil, that remains there forever. And if you break it with a shovel, or if you break it up if you accidentally dig too deep and it cuts through, those little shreds and shrapnels and junk just stays in your soil for so long, and it never breaks down. So it's there for eternity. And I'm not someone that really likes to leave a place worse than when I first came to it. So I don't particularly like that. Now there are, like I said, better options if you're worried about gophers, or you're worried about voles or moles or ground hedgehogs. I've heard it all. There's a lot of nasty creatures that love digging under your beds and eating the plant roots or carrots or potatoes, things like that will come in and just wreak havoc. That's where I would use hardware cloth. Personally, you should be using hardware cloth before you use weed fabric because, again, for those reasons I mentioned, it allows the water and the minerals to still leach through your soil and help the soil underneath to become better. It allows for worms and other insects to come up into your soil to help the soil out and increase the microbial activity and the biology in your soil. It also still prevents the gophers, the voles, and the moles. That's something that you can still do. It still doesn't break down, but you can't break it really easily with a shovel. If you dig too deep, it doesn't cut really easily. You'll notice that it's there, and it won't really allow the shovel to go much deeper. So it's still, it doesn't ruin the environment like weed fabric does. I really hope that you enjoyed this, and I really hope that it enlightened you on what why I do what I do. And if it agrees with you, great. If not, that's perfectly fine too. Gardening is not a one-size-fits-all solution. So I hope you all enjoyed. I hope that answered a lot of your questions. And as always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow big or go home. We'll catch you all later. See ya.